Welcome to my Law of Attraction educational video on anger. Law of Attraction is a universal law, and it has a few stipulations, some of which are that all is well, like attracts like, everything is energy, that we're all interconnected, we're all good, we're all God. You decide how you define that piece. And that your thoughts shape your emotions, kind of like in cognitive behavioral therapy, and that is how you attract more of what you want by simply paying attention to your vibrations, and that's in the way of emotions. Okay, so I would like for you to close your eyes for a few seconds, maybe about half a minute, and just think of the word anger. So I want you to just notice the different things that come up for you, whether that be in the form of thoughts, in the form of emotions, or in the form of bodily sensations. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, so chances are you had a few phrases come up for you, such as anger issues, anger problems, anger management. You may have had memories of others getting upset at you, or you getting angry at other people, and maybe you had images of things being violent or destructive in some way. Wow, so anger, what is it? And is it bad necessarily? Can it be good at all? If we have experienced it as destructive, then it makes sense that we would see it as negative. And I think in society overall, the way we see anger is very negative. Sure, in general, you don't typically think that anger is a pleasant feeling. However, let's look at it a little bit. So emotions. Emotions are energy like everything else. Anger is no different. It's energy. And so you decide how you channel that energy. Now, we were looking at the question of, is it good? Is it bad? Can it serve a purpose? Well, if you look at an emotional scale, the very bottom you have a lot of sadness and despair. It's like there's absolutely no hope and there's nothing you could do about anything and you're just like doomed. If you're feeling that way, then you're stuck. However, a step above that would be anger. And it doesn't mean that you have to go through it, but a step above that is easier than multiple steps above that, such as happiness. So for most people, it's hard to jump from sadness to joy, from sadness to feeling elated. There's a big gap there emotionally and vibrationally. So if you have pain, on one side of pain you have sadness, on the other side you have anger. With sadness, you judge yourself, you blame yourself. With anger, you tend to judge others and blame others, so the outside or the seeming outside. So you think, okay, well, if they're both blaming, then what's the difference? Well, if you're blaming yourself, it's easier to get stuck there. And you don't want to get stuck because, again, if everything's energy, you want things to flow. And if you're finding a way to channel that, you need to first start focusing a little bit on the outside there so that it could keep flowing. Now, an important piece with all emotions and anything that comes up to let them flow is your breath. So it's very, very important to use your breath to just continue letting things flow through you. And a lot of times when you breathe deeply, you start noticing if you have tension in certain parts of your body. And when you have tension, that's you trying to hold on to things or trying to prevent something from being there, or you from feeling that something, that emotion. So again, focusing on the anger. If you're feeling sad, let's say, because something's going on, let's say you're a child and your parents or your caregivers frequently tell you that you're stupid. Initially, at least, for survival, it will be important for you to do what most children do, which is blame themselves. And they blame themselves so that they could continue to see their parents or their caregivers as all good, as all powerful, as all knowing, as the ones who are going to take care of them. Because if something's wrong with them, then what's going to happen to me, right? So if that happens, let's say you internalize that message that something's wrong with you, and you will, chances are, feel sad. So if you're sad, you're going to be stuck. Maybe you tend to go off into a corner. You tend to not relate to a lot of people because it doesn't feel safe. It feels maybe scary. At some point, hopefully, you get tired of that, where you're like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to keep feeling just sad and blame myself for things and think that I'm wrong or stupid, like I was told. And at that point, you might start tapping into your anger. You might start channeling a little bit of that to get you out of that funk, to get you out of that stagnant, stuck energy. And so as you're letting it move and you're letting it flow, sure, eventually you don't want to stay stuck in anger either. You don't want to be stuck anywhere. But it's just part of that process where you're moving up the emotional scale to feel better and better. Now, whenever you have a situation that you don't like, it makes sense that for the most part, you're going to feel something negative inside of you in the form of an emotion, whether it be sadness, whether it be anger. But it's really good to know that if it's anger, you have a greater chance of mobilizing the energy, of letting it flow versus being stuck. So am I suggesting just be angry? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is make peace with the anger. Make peace with it if it's there. If you don't make peace with it, chances are it's going to get bigger, because anything that we don't make peace with, we can't move on from. And the more we judge something, the bigger that gets. So if, let's say, I'm judging myself for being angry, that means that there's probably some shame around that and it's going to be compounded. So I want to make peace with the fact that my anger is there. It's trying to help me. It's trying to keep me safe. It's trying to get my energy moving so that I don't get stuck. So it has a positive intention. Now, everything's on a continuum, so you definitely want to assess what you want to do with the anger, how you want to channel the anger. If you completely unleash it, it could just be very destructive energy. And chances are you don't want to do that, because in our society there are consequences for that. So you want to find a way to channel it in a way that seems productive for you. Whether it be, okay, I have all this energy, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to go work out in a different way that's fun for me. So you want to find a way to channel it. Another very productive way of channeling the anger is communicating. So if you haven't been used to the anger and all of a sudden you're trying to be present to it, it might take you a while, it might take some practice to figure out, okay, yes, I'm feeling angry, that's normal, that's okay, and how do I want to communicate this? So you want to communicate it in the way that feels the best for you, and in a way that gets, of course, the results that you want. If you make a mistake, and the only way to know that is if you act out on the anger and then there's a negative result or a result that you don't like, then it's just feedback, like the rest of your emotions. You take that in, you say, okay, I did not like the result of how that came out, or I don't like how that came out. So I think I will modify that next time. Maybe I will take some deep breaths, channel the energy in a different way, and maybe when I'm calmer, I can communicate that, because you can still learn from it. So again, anger is just an emotion, it's just energy, it's normal. You simply want to see how to channel it, how to use it, and then just let it go. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.